in quite some time. 11 of 20, 209, touchdown and an interception. I'm sure plenty to sink our teeth into here and elsewhere as SHEDEUR takes the reins for Cleveland. We're going to get you back out the site in just a moment for more thoughts from this game, but here first with the fellas, CBS Sports NFL insider Jonathan Jones, the two-time champ Bryant McFadden, and America's running back, NFL analyst Emery Hunt, in to break it all down. And fellas, this was going to be a noisy one, for lack of a better term. Plenty said coming in, plenty said after, I'm sure, about SHEDEUR Sanders and his performance. First word goes to you here, Jonathan Jones. What did you make of this 60 minutes?
Solid. Great. I felt that this was the best possible performance that we could have seen from SHEDEUR Sanders, which is to say, I was not anticipating SHEDEUR was going to go out here and throw 400 yards and get 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. You wanted a clean, operationally clean, not making a ton of mistakes. Yes, he had the interception. Again, he's a 5th-round rookie. He's in his first start. He had a week with the first team. There will be mistakes. Limit the mistakes. That's exactly what he did. Don't put your team in disadvantageous situations. Make sure that you are staying ahead of the chains. Hold on to the football. And that is what SHEDEUR Sanders did. And when your defense is going to get double-digit sacks, as long as you don't hurt your team and hurt your offense, you're probably going to come away with a win. That's what happened today. First team with 10-plus sacks since 1984. It was the Falcons then. Franchise record 11-10 here for this vaunted pass rush of the Cleveland Browns. We'll get into that, but Emery Hunt, I know you have maybe been the levelest of heads coming into the SHEDEUR Sanders conversation, but maybe not levelest of heads, but maybe the most optimistic about what we might see. How did he live up to your expectations, taller than most?
He looked exactly like SHEDEUR Sanders at Jackson State. When he first got out there, he was playing within himself. He was getting the ball out quickly. They had a run game, which he had his first year at Jackson State, so he was very efficient with the football, took timely shots deep down the field. What I loved that I didn't see was him holding on to the football. He allowed dead plays to die, and because he's able to push the ball vertically down the field, it opens up the years.
Every offense that I was a part of, team-wise, the backup quarterback will get reps with the ones, just in case. Just in case something happens to the starting quarterback, he is prepared. He's a little acclimated with the guys on the grass. That's number one. But number two, seeing how they've handled this ordeal, it puts everything with the Browns in questions. Now I'll say this. What happens next? Because I, for one, believe when you look at what happened today, a team that has been spiraling in the wrong direction, a team that has been finding ways to lose, you found a way to win, and it wasn't solely all on SHEDEUR Sanders, but he was one of the main catalysts for your success. What happens now if Dillon Gabriel is healthy or cleared to return to gameplay next week against the San Francisco 49ers? I, for one, feel like when you're the Cleveland Browns, when you haven't been winning ball games, you're looking for any spark you could potentially get. Yes, SHEDEUR wasn't the main spark, but he helped provide a spark. Yeah. I think he's deserving of starting next week against a better team in the San Francisco 49ers. Because if you look at the Cleveland Browns in 2026 for the draft, they have an abundance of draft capital. You need to know exactly what you should do at each position. And that quarterback position is a main ingredient for their future success. We've seen a lot of Dillon Gabriel. I think SHEDEUR Sanders' performance today has warranted him to start another week, even if Dillon Gabriel is healthy.
A calamity of their own creation, perhaps, drafting 2 quarterbacks in 3 rounds this last year in the draft. But it's SHEDEUR Sanders leading team to victory in this one. Browns with a quarterback in a first career start. This, again, is the first win since 1999 for a quarterback making their first start as a Cleveland Brown. Now, the road ahead, questions will be asked, but it's SHEDEUR Sanders offering answer in his first start here on Sunday. And for more, we take out to the site where we say hello to part of our NFL on CBS family. Ross Tucker offering thoughts from this one. Ross, we know team game, but individual exploits were the headline coming in, so let's lead with them going out. Your assessment of SHEDEUR Sanders as 60 minutes goes how?
I would say it was a very favorable first start for SHEDEUR Sanders. I know that the numbers weren't outstanding, but to me, it's what my eyes told me, which is he did a much better job of stepping up in the pocket as opposed to drifting back. I believe he only took 1 sack the entire game, which is a massive improvement when you think about last week against the Ravens and even the final preseason game. I mean, in the final preseason game against the Rams, he took 5 sacks in 17 plays. So for him to come out here only be sacked one time. He did throw one interception. They fooled him, and that's going to happen with a rookie quarterback. But he looked comfortable. He looked like he belonged. He looked like a starting quarterback.
You got some of those flashes that we were looking for, that is for sure. But again, team game, so let's get to some of it here, Ross, because there are things that this team does that is far beyond the record right now. The pass rush, it's about as good of a unit team-wise as you're going to see, led by Myles Garrett, who continues to close in on that season-long record. 10 sacks on the day, 7 different players credited with a sack or a portion of one. What do they do up front outside of just Garrett that makes it so hard on protection groups?
Well, let's start with this. The Raiders' offense, I mean, they are a bad offensive line, probably the worst offensive line in the league. So we need to state that. But I think the biggest key to the Browns' success on defense this year has been the defensive tackles. Schweschinger has been unbelievable. We know about Myles Garrett. He's probably going to break the sack record. But what's really turned this defense from good to great has been that interior D-tackle rotation, whether it's Mason Graham or Michael Hall, Shelby Harris, certainly Malik Collins, who already has a career high in sacks. Those guys got a lot of pressure, a lot of push today. They help funnel things to Myles Garrett, and they're a big reason why the Browns probably have the best defense on the 3-8 team I can ever remember seeing.
It feels that way. They are a blast to watch get after a quarterback. And let's talk about that quarterback, or maybe Vegas at large here. A parting thought, Ross, because we were talking in the green room about the order of operations with this team. I don't know if you want to call it a rebuild or a reset, but it felt half-hearted. And then you spend premium capital on a quarterback, premium draft capital on a running back. Does it feel like things maybe are a little out of order right now, and foundationally other things need to change?
For the Browns or the Raiders?
For the Raiders, excuse me.
Yeah, you know, I think that they're in a really weird position, Joe, because Pete Carroll has that mantra of compete and win, and he's 74 years old. He's not trying to rebuild for the long haul. Meanwhile, they drafted a bunch of players after Ashton Genty that are more developmental players. Thornton at receiver, the 2 offensive linemen in the 3rd round, including Charles Grant, who's an FCS player. I love my FCS guys, but typically you're not expecting those guys to play right away. So it's one of those organizations where you wonder if the coaching staff and the front office is on the same page. There are some indications that perhaps they're not.
Mired in a little bit worse than mediocrity. Vegas, you have to figure it out. Cleveland may be taking a step forward on this Sunday. Ross Tucker, it's always a blast chatting with you, pal.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, our team out there in Las Vegas, putting it on wax. SHEDEUR Sanders.